21 that we have here says in rectangle ABCD. So they give us a rectangle. In rectangle, I'm going to draw a rectangle like so. Now we know that rectangle, two opposite sides are always equal, right? So X is always equal to Y and Z is always equal to Q. That's just the rule of rectangle. Rectangle, Z is equal to Q and X is equal to Y, okay? So let's continue. So we'll call it A, B, C, D. So they said in rectangle ABCD shown segments BE and CE. So they give us BE, which is from here and here. So that this is E right here. Okay. Take this off. So section BE and CE partition the rectangle into 3 triangles, giving DE equal to 7 centimeter. DE, which is this right here. So this is 7. BE equal 26. BE. So this is 26. And CE is 25. CE is 25 centimeters. What is the length in centimeters of BC? So we're looking for here, BC. And don't forget that the entire of this BC, let's call it Y, is going to be the same thing as AD. But we know that AE plus ED, let's call this entire length right here, let's call it X. It's going to be equal to X. And X is equal to Y since they are opposite side, right? So just a quick equation just to explain things to us, right? We don't know AE, but we know ED, this right here. And we know ED is 7. So if we want to find Y, all we need to do is find AE, right? That's all we need to do. Once we can find AE, we'll find Y. So our job first is to figure out how to find AE. So since we have these 2 triangles, right? We have these 2 triangles. We can quickly solve for one of these sides. Since we have this side right here, we have this side right here. So this is a very simple Pythagoras theorem. Pythagoras theorem, right? It says that when you have a triangle like this, which is, right, let's call this X, let's call this A, let me call this C. Anytime you have a triangle like this, the square of A plus the square of B will be equal to the square of C. So the short side, which is A squared, plus the side line this way, or the height, or the base in this case, the base is going to be height. The height here in this case is square plus the base right here, B squared, is equal to the adjacent right here, C squared. So we can do the same thing for this triangle, right? We can do the same thing. So if we do the same thing for this triangle, our A in this case is 7, so that's 7 squared, plus our B in this case is, I'm going to call it Q squared. Let's go to our C here in this case is 25 squared, right? 25 squared. So here you can take your Q to the other side and bring your C to this side, or you can do anyhow you want to do it. So which means that Q squared is equal to 25 squared minus 7 squared, right? So now it is very easy to solve for Q. When you have This is just another in to help you solve in case you don't have a calculator. Or if you have a calculator, it's very easy. When you have a squared minus b squared, it is really a plus b bracket a minus b. That's what it is. Because if you factor this out, if you expand this bracket, it's going to be a times a is a squared, a times minus b is minus ab, b times a is plus ab, and b times minus b is minus b squared, right? So this cancel out. So you end up with a squared minus b squared. So what I'm trying to say is when you have these, instead of whipping out your calculator, you can quickly write this as 25, right? Plus 7, 25 minus 7. You can write this as that. And 25 plus 7 should give you 32. And 25 minus 7 should give you 18. When you get this right here, you can say Q squared equal to 32 times 18, right? Which means that Q is equal to square root of 32 times 18. And you can definitely split this up. This is going to give you 32 is the same thing as 9. This is if you don't have calculator. If you have calculator, just do the math quick and you'll be done with it. But if you don't have calculator, you can split this to 16, right? Times 2, right? Times, this is 18, right? 18 is 9 times 2, right? So that you can now split all this up to square root of 16 times square root of 2 times square root of 9 times square root of 2, right? Square root of 16 is 4 times square root of 2 times square root of 2 is 2 and square root of 9 is 3, right? So that at the end of the day, your Q is equal to 4 times 2 times 3. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 3 is 24. So your answer is 24, right? But if you have a calculator, once you get to this point right here, 25 times 25 minus 7 times 7 should give you the same, should give you 576. And then square root of 576 will give you 24. So now we know that this is 24. So this is 24 right here, right? So I've given you various options. You can arrive at your answer if you have calculator or if you don't have calculator. If calculator is permitted to use in the exam, then your life is a lot easier. But if calculator is not allowed to be used, then you can just use this right here and you arrive at the same answer. So now we know that DC is 24. What we really need to find is this right here. If we know this one, automatically we also know this one. So this is going to be 24 also, since we say opposite sides are the same. So now we can find AE. So that AE right here, we're going to call it AE squared, right? Plus AB squared is equal to EB squared, right? AE squared is what we're looking for. So we're going to put this to the other side so that AE squared is equal to EB squared minus AB squared, right? AE squared is equal to our EB squared is 26 squared minus our AB squared is 24 squared, right? So AE squared is the same thing as, again, you can use the same, I don't have a calculator on me, so I'm just going to use the same thing. 26 plus 24, 26 minus 24, right? So AE squared, because 26 plus 24 is 50. And 26 minus 24 is 2, right? So that AE is equal to the square root of 50 times 2, right? And then this one, we can write 50 as square root of 25 times 2. 25 times 2 is 50. So the same thing then times 2, right? So if you break this into surds, your AE becomes square root of 25 times square root of 2 times square root of 2, right? Square root of 25 is 5. Square root of 2 times square root of 2 is 2. So that 5 times 2 is 10, which means that AE right here is 10. Well, now that we know AE, we can definitely find Y, because Y is AE plus 7. So our AE here is 10, so that Y is equal to, right, AE 10 plus 7. So our answer is 17. That is the answer to that question. The options you find in the option that was provided is, let me see, option A is 10. So they gave us option A to be 10. Option B is 15. Option C is 17. And option D is 24. So your answer is this, 17. And that's what we got right here. So that's how you solve question 21. Let's go to question 22. Question 22. So question 22 says, in a particular cleaning solution, the ratio of concentrated solution to water, so we have conc solution to water, is 3 to 40. How many cups of concentrated solution should be added to 5 gallons of water? So they're asking for concentrated solution to 5 gallons of water, right? That's what they're asking. We know that if you have, so this question is very easy. If you have three cups of concentrated solution, then you must have 40 cups of water, right? So this is in cups. Now they're asking for how many cups of concentrated solution, how many, I'm going to use that as X. If I have 50 gallons of water. So that's how you interpret this question. They're looking for the concentrated solution amount. So they gave us that 4 cups is equal to 1 quart. And they said 4 quarts is equal to 1 gallon, all right? So we know how many gallons we have. So let's convert this gallon to quart so we can convert the quarts to cup. So that's simple. If 4 quarts give you 1 gallon, how many quarts, let's call that Z, will give us 5 gallons, right? So let's quickly find that information. So that means that 4 quarts, I'm going to use QT for quart, times 5 gallons using the cross multiplication. When you have this kind of a ratio like that, 5 gallons, we use GA for gallons, is equal to 1 gallon times Z, which is what we don't know, right? So in this case, divide both sides by 1 gallon. So this cancel out. This gallon cancel this gallon now. So you have 4 times 5. So you have 20 quarts is equal to Z. So 20 quarts, 5 gallons is 20 quarts. But we want to get back to cups. We don't want to use quarts. So we know that 4 cups is equal to 1 quart, right? So when we have 20 quarts, how many cups do we have? Let's call that Y, right? Equal to 20 quarts. So the same thing, we'll do a cross multiplication right here, right? So that 4 cups times 20 quart is equal to Y times 1 quart, right? So that we can divide both sides by 1 quart, right? And once we do that, 4 times 20 is called 80 cups. So that our Y is equal to 80 cups. What I just did is I'm trying to convert 5 gallons to cups. 5 gallons is the same thing as 80 cups, right? That's what I've been trying to do. So now that we have the amount in cups, because they want the answer in cups, we have to make sure that the units fit themselves. So we know that 3 to 40 is this concentrated solution to water. And we know that the number of water we have is 80. This is in cups right now, right? Cups. It's also in cups right here. So now we know that we don't know the amount of concentrated solution because that's what they're asking of us. We're going to call that XX, and number of cups of water is 80. They have to be the same. So when you divide this, you must get 340. So now we can do our cross multiplication again, and that will give us 3 cups times 80 cups is equal to 40 cups times X, right? So we'll divide both sides by 40 cups. Right? So that this cancel out and this cancel out this. That gives us 2. 3 times 2 is 6. So we have 6 cups. And that will be the value of the concentrated solution. The option we're given in the question, they say F is 12, G, they say is 6, and H, they say is 1 over 2, and J, they say is 3 over 8. So now let me give you a quick way to find the answer in the exam, which is quick. Once you're able to get the number of cups right here as 80, you know that for every 40 cups, you will need 3. For every 80 cups, definitely you're going to need 6, because if I times this by 2, that gives me 6. If I times it by 2, that gives me 80, which means 6 is going to be at the top. So you can just stop there. Another thing is, if the ratio is 3 to 40, right, and you have 5 gallons, once you convert your 5 gallons to cup right here, you've ultimately solved the question. You can quickly eliminate F and J because they can't be the answer. And that will give you G as your answer. So the answer is G.